Welcome to this episode of Matchback Systems Podcast. I'm Heather Pearl. We're delighted to introduce our guest today, Professor Chris Clott. Chris joins us from SUNY Maritime, which is the State University of New York Maritime College, where he's the chair of Marine Transportation and Logistics. Chris is also the director and co-founder of the New York Maritime Innovation Center. So welcome, Chris, and thanks very much for being with us.
I'm glad to be here, Heather.
Thank you. So let's start by talking about the Innovation Center. What prompted you to launch it, and what are the goals?
Good, all good questions. We started NIMIC about a year and a half ago, and the simple premise was that it seemed like it was a good time to have a neutral place to talk about maritime innovation, Maritech, if you will. And I've had a number of industry people to help and advise and guide me on this journey. It's been interesting, to say the least, because one of the things that we have certainly know, our timing was excellent in establishing this, and most definitely we're looking at a number of transformations within the maritime tech sector, and if you include, let's say, all of the sea, land, and port pieces, that's a huge sector.
Yeah. And so what are the goals of the center? What do you want to achieve with it?
So obviously in something like this, there's multiple goals, and so I guess probably I'll say in a shorthand, we feel we are a bridge for the maritime and tech sectors. Certainly a lot of technologies that have matured could be utilized within the Maritech field, and a lot of this is about getting them in. And so we kind of look at this as being able to convene industry experts and forward-thinking developers, connect problem solvers and investors, and catalyze ideas. Convene, connect, catalyze would be the mantra. And providing a neutral setting for development of innovative ideas to move the industry forward.
Okay. And to that end, you recently, the center hosted a maritime hackathon where participants addressed real challenges around data in the shipping industry. Can you tell us about the event, Chris? How did it go?
It was wonderful. It was most definitely unique. There had been a port hackathon about 2 years ago that I attended that was probably a bit more limited in its goals than ours. We provided a set of challenge questions that many of them are some of the central ones regarding the use of data in the industry and how to connect it, how to utilize it better. And we had about 14 teams. That a hackathon, by the way, is a deep dive event. It is not so it begins on a Friday, usually in the evening. All day Saturday and into literally the late afternoon Sunday, the event goes on. And so we had 14 teams of individuals, most of them coming from the New York tech development sector, to look at these questions. We had nine finishers, or nine teams made presentations at the end. And the maritime industry really took notice. First of all, because this was very unique, hadn't been tried before. Maybe it's certainly not unusual in Europe, but in the States, this has been nothing tried before, and certainly in our industry. And and getting a lot of different perspectives from, in many cases, software engineers from the outside. In fact, the winning idea, which was called Docket Systems, came from three guys who have no background in maritime at all. Learned about it kind of over a very intensive weekend. We had domain experts that were able to connect with all the teams, assist them. We had data sources for them to look at and utilize. It was a big hit, and and I think the industry has certainly taken notice. One of the things, of course, that is preoccupying me at this point is next steps. Certainly to try to assist the teams that would like to continue to develop their ideas, and to begin the opening stages of launching an accelerator. What we expect to do as the NIMIC Ideal X Accelerator, the Ideal X, by the way, being the very first container ship launched so many years ago, is to try to get early stage ideas, vetting, to probably work with, at least in our opening stages, to work with existing accelerators in the New York area, to provide access to maritime and tech experts, and hopefully then be able to connect them with early stage investors, venture capital, and develop minimum viable product.
Well, that sounds great, Chris. I'm happy that it was such a success, and I should say thank you for having Matchback Systems as an industry partner for the event. Thank you. We were very happy to do that. One thing that was striking to me is that the teams taking part had no prior knowledge of marine transportation. You know, you mentioned that the winners looked at the healthcare industry as a source of inspiration.
Right.
You know, so they had no knowledge, and yet in one weekend they came up with all these creative solutions to tackle the pain points. And the industry badly needs this talent to drive innovation. And it made me wonder how many of them would now be interested in the marine tech field. I mean, do you think that a career in transportation and logistics technology is becoming more attractive to the next generation?
I think it's a slow build, of course, and our hope was to spur that interest, and most definitely they see the potential there. This is not a field that has been extraordinarily open and embracing new talent, new ideas in the past, and I think that is changing. That in my view is changing very quickly. So one of the, I think, things that was noted by a number of people were all the individuals that we had at this event who, along with the winners, had no prior background in the field, but found it useful to be there, give up a weekend to participate in this, and are otherwise energized to look at solutions in this field. I think that was a huge takeaway. Nurturing talent for our industry has got to be one of the most important things that we do. It is an industry that is going to have a big generational transfer of sorts. Let's say a number of industry veterans will be retiring or leaving of their own accord, and we're going to need some new ideas, new people who can propel things in what I think are the new directions, particularly those requiring a lot more technology.
Right. So the transportation industry is evolving in terms of embracing IT to solve long-standing, decades-old problems.
Yes.
What are your views about digitization and the changes that will happen as a result?
I think it's going to be very rapid now. First, one of the things, one of the big takeaways for me was how many individuals reached out to me from the industry and from all over post hackathon as they became aware of what we had done. It's a hot space, and there's going to be a lot of tech innovators in that space. I think you're going to find a lot of startup ideas. Obviously, most of the startups aren't going to work, or many, let's put it this way, many of them will not, but some will. And the need to have new ideas in our area is absolutely essential at this point. It provides visibility for, also what we want to do is work with existing startups, those that already are in process, and provide some validation for ideas that they may have already worked on through mentoring and data sources.
Right. So my last question for you, Chris, is say, look, 10 years out in the future, what do you see happening in the industry that we don't see now? How different do you think things are going to be?
I think they're going to be massively different. I think 10 years out, it's going to be an unrecognizable industry from what it is today. And again, I don't have any crystal ball here, so I can only look at what crosses my desk and certainly new technologies. Among the things that I think are going to perfection of leveraging big data and having things very much guided by analytics. Obviously, such things as blockchain will probably at that time be perfected. Internet of Things, which will mean a much faster diagnostic, being able to utilize all of the pieces of the transportation network, the supply chain network. Such things as autonomous ships, autonomous ports, autonomous, you name it. How much? I don't think the human will ever be out of the equation, but most definitely the individuals who will be guiding and perfecting this industry 10 years out are going to be very conversant in working with machines, in how to utilize and guide and develop the necessary pieces. Our industry is, in my view, going to need a tremendous upgrade then in skill sets for literally all of us who have known it in the past and who want to be connected with it in the future.
That's really interesting, Chris. I'm going to touch base with you in 10 years' time and see where we are. Okay, well, thanks very much. I've really enjoyed your unique take on the industry. It's been great talking with you. Thanks again.
Most appreciate it, and thank you, and to your audience as well. And we were super glad to have Matchback Systems as you know, an industry participant.
Oh, our pleasure. Very welcome, Chris. We look forward to the next event.
Okay, we'll keep you posted.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.